Hello, everyone. It's Brian Underwood. The whole purpose of the show is, my philosophy is I think so many people are looking for success. They're looking to find themselves. They do all this studying with all these influencers and different things that they think might get them ahead. And I think so many times we have to realize that we have everything that we need to be successful within ourselves. So we don't have to go seek out to be someone else. We just have to be more of who we really are. And I think that a lot of times we let society dictate our opinions of others or our peer group dictate our actions and what we want to do. And the old adage that I think everyone historically knows this quote, know thyself and be thyself. I think so many times we forget to just spend time getting to know ourselves. And so if we want more out of life, we got to become more. We got to do more. Through that, we're going to grow more. We're going to become more educated. Therefore, we'll have more to give, more to contribute back to the world. So, someone asked me the other day, what books am I reading? What should they do for personal development? And I said, I stopped them right there. I said, that's it. You need to do for personal development. I believe that we're going to learn a lot more by doing than reading. So if you do read something, apply it and do it immediately. And so today I thought it would be important to talk about don't dwell, don't judge yourself, don't let someone, including yourself, steal your joy. And lately I've, been on a little bit of a soapbox, even internally within my own self, with dwelling on things that I can't control anyway, instead of and letting the dwelling or the worrying steal my action. I'll give you a prime example. I've been dwelling on doing a podcast for literally 2 years, right? I've been worried about it. I have not wanted to do it because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to do it because I was worried about how I would sound. But the reality of it is, I think so many of us, we judge ourselves based on what we're accomplishing or getting done or the fear of how it's going to look or how we're not going to measure up. And the reality of it is that steals our joy, right? Most of us are harder on ourselves than anyone else is on us. But one of the things that it'll do is it'll drain your joy, right? It's going to drive home or bring to the surface your insecurities. It's just kind of like a to-do list. Something that is a tip, a strategy, a tool to leave with you all with that I took from James Clear on The Power of Habit. It's a great book. If you haven't had a chance to read it, pick it up. It's awesome. But I think so many times we have all of these things that we want to do in any given day. And if we don't accomplish them, we become overwhelmed, right? And then we dwell. So to give you a prime example, to-do lists. And I think so many people, they put so much on their list that they overwhelm themselves. And I think that there is power and momentum in simplicity. And it's the whole adage of 1% better each and every day. And so one of the things James Clear talks about in The Power of Habit is just choose one thing to focus on for the day, but do it to where you can accomplish it. So if you're just going to get started working out, don't focus on going to the gym for 2 hours to get this intense workout in. If you haven't worked out and you've been sedative for the last 6 months or a year or 5 years, whatever it is, make it a habit just to walk in the gym. I got started back about 90 days ago. The first day I did about 5 minutes. I went into the gym, I got on the treadmill, and after about 5 minutes, my brain started racing and I left. However, if my goal would have been to get this long workout in, I would have felt like a failure. It would have drained me of my joy. But my goal, because of James Clear and The Power of Habit that I was applying, was I just wanted to get in the gym. I wanted to start. My goal was to break a sweat. I broke a sweat. I felt complete. I celebrated it and I moved on. And so, I think that for a lot of us that we have to realize that the foundation of our happiness is going to be stemmed from ourselves and our personal image of ourselves. Don't be so hard on yourself. Remember to just do what you can, right? Self-awareness isn't something, it's everything. And, and I think that, so many people, when they become self-aware or authentic, and they share their true selves, society or peer group or whatever, they either glorify it or demonize it. But the reality of it is that none of us should let someone steal our joy, or we shouldn't steal our own joy because of someone demonizing our passion or the things that we want to do. And so, so the focus today is just don't fucking judge yourself. Like, don't dwell, don't steal your own joy. Do what you can, and realize this. Somebody that was a mentor of mine that built a massive company, started off as a football coach in Cairo, Georgia. He built a massive company called A.L. Williams, which then turned into Primerica. It's still one of the largest insurance companies in the country today. I'll never forget listening to him give a speech. And the speech was, all you can do is all you can do. All you can do is all you can do. But all you can do is enough. And so in today's world, just be mindful, be aware. Social media is great. It's unbelievable the access that we have to content, to people's opinions, and to what's happening culturally in the world through all of these conversations, through all of these platforms. The other thing that we have to be mindful of is that that can create a huge level of comparison. We judge ourselves sometimes by the way that we see other people's lives or what other people are doing or gaining. Is the thing that I would challenge you to do is don't play in the comparison game. Comparison is the number one thing that will steal your joy and create a slippery slope to have you self-sabotage, right? To drive home insecurities. So don't compare. Like, if you're going to utilize social media, utilize it and be aware that for a lot of people, it's a highlight reel. It's not necessarily reality. The people that I love to follow are the people that are really, truly themselves. If they're great, they're great. If they're a jerk, they're a jerk, because there's wisdom in all of that. But to me, you want the real stuff. And there's a lot of humility that's found is the foundation of happiness. And the people that continue to move forward no matter how much successes they have through humility and making sure that they're sharing, what's really happening, those are the people that I tend to follow the most. But my point is that don't let social media create this comparison game in your own brain. And don't let it speed you up off of your journey and your process. I heard something, I don't even know where I heard it recently, and it was, the quicker you want it, the more vulnerable you become to self-sabotage. The more vulnerable you become to someone stealing your joy is how I took that. And in today's world, we want things faster than ever. Go out and develop a business right now, right? There's a lot of platforms you can plug into that all you have to do is hustle. However, you can't rush, the leadership skills, the wisdom, the foundation to carry the weight that success is going to have on you. We talked in the podcast earlier about, T.D. Jakes talking about success has weight. And I want you to realize this, is that sometimes the quicker you want something, the more vulnerable you become to that weight crushing you, right? So the point is move with speed and fast. It's okay to want to grow fast and have all-out massive action in everything you do. However, have patience in the process, knowing that you're on the right track as long as you're following your joy, right? So, don't let someone else steal your joy, because whatever it is that you're doing, you always have to remember that your success comes because of the potential you can tap into when you feel that joy. That joy is the high octane fuel, right? And so find joy in the process. Don't let anyone steal that from you, and don't allow someone, to steal your joy, or don't you steal your own joy by falling into self-sabotage. And I see so many people that they let themselves off the hook because they see something worse than it is, and it shifts them into this pattern of behavior of self-sabotage, right? Several reasons would be self-worth or self-image. Like when people start achieving their success and they don't feel like they're worth it, or it stops them in their tracks because of their own self-image and don't feel like that they're worth it. That can lead to self-sabotage, right? So don't let that happen to you. It's called cognitive dissonance, gives us the answer, right? Where cognitive dissonance is basically when people, they like to be consistent. They like certainty in their lives, right? So their actions line up with their beliefs and their values. But when they don't, they get very uncomfortable, right? So they try to line them up again. So for instance, if they've had this pattern of self-image of being comfortable and where they're at, and they also start achieving a lot of success, getting a lot of attraction and attention, they might start being uncomfortable because it's not congruent to their self-image. So, don't fall into that trap. That's why if we start to stack up some achievements, but we don't think that we're capable or we're incapable or we're worthless, then we fill in the blank of deficiency, right? And that's when we let ourselves off the hook, or we pull the plug and we get rid of the dissonance. So it feels bad to fail, but not as bad as it does to succeed. So if you ever heard someone say they're afraid of success, don't be afraid of success, right? The other thing that could create self-sabotage is people that have that need for certainty or control. So it feels better sometimes to control our own failure than to let failure blindside us. When the possibility of failure is too hot to handle, you take matters into your own hand and quit. People don't call it quitting today, right? Because we all know that old adage, quitters never win and winners never quit. The reality of it is, though, when we take it into our own hands, we blame, shame, and justify. We create something that is worse than it is, and we either don't try or we just stop, right? Because that gives us certainty in that control aspect of it. Self-sabotage isn't pretty, but, it's a dignified alternative sometimes to spinning out of control is what people tell themselves in their mind. So they're more afraid of the unknown and the uncertainty and the possibilities than they are of just staying right there in their comfort zone. And then number 3 is the perceived imposter syndrome, right? The perceived fraudulence. As the stakes get higher, you get more successful as you start building momentum. If you don't have that personal development or that knowledge in who you are and that certainty of who you are in your own skin, then you start feeling like you have further to fall or further to fail. So you think if you call attention to yourself by being successful, right? Fear of success, that people will call you out as a fraud, right? That's otherwise known as imposter syndrome. And I see so many people in business and platform and today because of influencers that they start living a lie based on what they think all the eyeballs want to see, and they're too afraid of being who they really are. Good, bad, and ugly. But the reality of it is that every single person has the fear of not being enough. Every single person that's winning, but they program their mind, right? So a few tools that we can do and solutions to overcome this is, number 1 is don't let all of this stuff become a distraction, right? So what is self-sabotage? Think about it this way. Self-sabotage is any action you take in your life that distracts you or gets you distracted from your own inspired action of going towards your goals. It's anything that distracts you, that takes you off course. So that is self-sabotage, right? The only thing that should distract you is the obsession you have for winning. The only thing that should distract you is the obsession towards your goals. Make sure your goals align with your joy, so nothing distracts you from it. My dad told me this. He grew the biggest CPA firm in the state of Kentucky in the 80s, or one of the largest, wholly owned CPA firms, when you couldn't even solicit business. And I'll never forget him telling me that he was just passionate about building the business. He was passionate because he came from nothing about doing more for his family than he ever had in his life. And he said he became obsessed with it. He said, listen, when I wasn't working, I was thinking about working. When I was in the shower, I was thinking about how I could create more attraction, or what he said is create more clients. When I was driving to work, I thought about different things that I could do to differentiate our firm and bring value to our customers. My point being is even when he wasn't doing it, he was thinking about it, right? So that is a distraction. Your obsession should be your distraction into your goals, right? Not limiting you from the goal. So ask yourself, are you truly passionate about the goals that you're pursuing? Are you moving with inspired action each and every day? And do you find yourself, in your free time completely consumed about what it is that you're going towards? And if the answer is yes, then you're well on your way. right? If the answer is no, then I'll make sure you align your passion and your joys for what you're doing. Even if you have to start off part-time, listen, having 3 jobs and pursuing your passion on a part-time basis with a full-time obsession and focus, that's what the majority of people that have made a difference in the world have done. Think about Bill Gates, right? He started in the garage of his house. He kept his full-time job, but he worked on his passion full-time and obsessed about it until it could support him financially. And so a couple solutions that all of us can have in terms of just action or being aware is move with that inspired action. But in order to do that, you have to know what it is that you're going towards. Have you even identified your goals, your dreams, or what you're pursuing? Because if you do that, don't look for the handy scapegoat, right? Don't blame, shame, and justify or fall victim. Too many people do that because if you're truly passionate and you follow these solutions, then it's going to offset some of those patterns that we talked about earlier. So number 1 is move. Every day, move your body. Motion creates emotion. Move your body, get in touch with your body. Number 2, tap into your joy. Identify what it is that makes you feel alive. I had a coach 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and one of the things that he told me to do is I was going through some ups and downs, as most entrepreneurs do, and I had just got through out of college, got into the business world, and since the age of about 6 or 7, basketball was my life. I used to always joke around and say I went to college to play basketball, right? I was able to play basketball through college, and I ate, slept, breathed basketball. Took a basketball with me everywhere I went. I loved basketball. And then when I got into business, I had to transition that joy and love into business. However, basketball is when I felt the most alive and the most powerful. And he said, you always have to connect with your joy. And then he pushed me. He said, go play basketball at least 3 times a week, right? Because when you're on that court, you're wiring in your brain. You feel confident. You feel strong. You feel powerful. So what is it that's your joy? Connect and tap into your joy and make your joy part of what you're doing, right? Make it a driving force, but wire yourself where you feel the most powerful to where it increases your self-image. And then speak to your brain. Don't let your brain speak to you. I heard this not too long ago from a speaker and that I had an opportunity that came to one of our events. And he said, when I switched, he was able to run 50 Ironman in 50 days, right? And he said, when I switched, my brain talking to my body or telling me how tired it was or where the pain was, and I started talking to my brain about what it felt, he said, everything moved for me. And I thought that's a great tool. The times where I've become, overcome the most adversity, doesn't mean that obstacles aren't there or the same fear isn't there, but you program your mind. Don't let the demons of your mind program you. And then, stay in a positive environment. Control your environment, right? You can control the environments that you're in. It's so important to make sure that you shift your environments to be conducive to you moving forward. So you don't dwell, right? Keep moving. And then your peer group, you become the sum of the top 5 people you hang out with the most, or the people that you're hanging out with. Are they dreamers? Are they doers? Are they individuals that multiply your efforts, or do they diminish you? Do they cause worry? Do they cause chaos? Do they cause drama? Ain't got no time for that. Focus on the positive stuff. And so I thought this was good, because I see so many people, including myself, that sometimes we just get caught up in the dwelling and the judging, and we steal our own dreams. Sometimes we don't even have to wait for other people to steal our dreams. We steal our own, right? Because of some of these things that we talked about. So listen, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever your goals are, your dreams are, you can do it. You just have to do more, become more, embrace the journey more, and then be willing to give back more, right? And so listen, whatever it is that you're doing, get doing it. Be positive and confident in all you do. And we're going to bring more to you. If you liked this episode, please give us a like. Share it with someone that you think might be judging themselves. Maybe one of these tips could help realign their focus or re-guide them into the power of themselves, to where they can overcome to become. With that being said, take the big leap. We'll talk to you guys soon.